Hello, everyone. So yesterday I was sitting down and I was studying, and I got a call that said, "Oh, go and watch Arise TV and see what someone is yearning." So I went to the person asked me, "Are you watching Arise TV?" And I was like, "No, I'm not watching Arise TV. I'm doing something." Like, "Oh, go and watch Arise TV." So I went over to Arise TV to go and watch, and then by the time I got there, I got to the tail end of the interview. I just watched it, I listened to it, and I laughed. And I remember doing a tweet that said something like, every media outlet, Peter Obi happens to be the conversation. And that's awesome because he's getting all of this free media publicity, yeah, that's it, free media publicity. He's getting this media publicity, for free. And so I just moved on. So yesterday night, so this was like yesterday morning, sort of. Then yesterday night, I woke up. No, I think so. That should be today, early hours of today. It's still Ramadan now, and Muslims we woke up around 4 to be able to have a meal or something, and then I actually take my walk between 4:30 to 5:30 for me to be able to do my exercise, my 1 hour exercise, and in that period, I'm able to also drink water. So sometimes I do that. And so I checked my message and I saw a message from someone. He was like, "Oh, have you watched the Kassim Afegbua interview? If you haven't watched it, try and watch it." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I decided, okay, let me go and look for that interview and actually watched it. So I've watched the interview, right? And I want to just take my time now and look at the interview as it came bit by bit and just put it bit by bit and do a bit of an analysis on it. So we are going to do this together, not just me. So the first thing is we're going to listen to the first part of it. So please take a listen.
Very much for having me. Good afternoon.
So what do you make, first of all, of Peter Obi's claims that pretty much he is willing to work with the Labour Party, but not willing to die over the issues that they are creating and so forth? What do you make of these comments?
Well, I find Peter Obi's comment very disappointing, but not surprising because some of us knew from day one that the Labour Party was just a special purpose vehicle to pursue his own selfish ambition of trying to preside over the country. But if you go through my article today, I try to situate the failure of Labour Party being unable to reconcile its own internal differences as that of the failure of the presidential candidate himself. You see, it is good for you to nurture an ambition. It's also good for you to ensure that the vehicle upon which that ambition is being pursued.
Okay, you did hear that, right? And so I'm just going to start with just looking at this. I hope this video is not going to be too long. I bet if it's long, I'll just put it in different parts because there's quite interesting things that were said. And while he was speaking, of course, I was taking notes. One of the things that he said he didn't find it surprising, he was disappointed, but he didn't find it surprising that Peter Obi was saying he was going to leave the Labour Party. That's not what he has said. So I'm not even going to go into that. But what I found is where he mentioned the fact that it's selfish ambition. I really would like Afegbua to explain to me what's selfish about someone wanting to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I know Afegbua has had a lot of people he has supported to be president of who want to be president of Nigeria. Was that selfish, or is there a particular reason, or is he looking at it from the point of view that he thinks he's not able or cannot be a president, and anybody that he sees within that range that it's not going for, let them be bootlicking and trying to get maybe something, or either a ministerial job or one thing or the other, or whatever it is, jump from one party to the other to do all of those things. Is that what the problem is? Because I really don't see what is selfish. Okay, let's even assume, yes, Mr. Peter Obi is selfish. It's a selfish ambition. I have my own selfish ambition. I will tell you anytime, any day. My selfish ambition is I don't want, I'm tired, I'm sick and tired of helping people. I'm sick and tired of carrying the burden of so many. I am so done, so sick and tired of it that I want a country that works so that I don't want to help anybody, so that I don't have to help anybody, and I don't want people coming to me with need of help. I want people to not need my help. So that's a selfish reason for me. If anybody feels that, well, that's it. Yeah, I have my own selfish reason. And of course, it's okay for Mr. Peter Obi to have his own selfish reasons. And if those selfish reasons are taking Nigeria from consumption to production, we welcome it. If those selfish reasons are, protecting lives and properties, we welcome them. If those selfish reasons are ensuring that every child gets good quality public education, we welcome them. If those selfish reasons are, protecting its because he wants the lives of citizens to be protected, we welcome them. We are not complaining, and we're okay with his selfish reason. The Tinubu that Afegbua is currently, let me put it that way, currently supporting, who has rigged his way into office, what selfish reasons did it have? His own selfish reason seems to be come in and take over the collective wealth of the people and do whatever it is that they want to do with it. His own selfish reason has been, waste the money of citizens. His own selfish reason has been, increase the cost of governance. His own selfish reason has been come and build houses for yourself, build presidential these Zodan barracks, occupy the office and use all of these things for the office of the president, which he is not, which is illegitimately occupying. So I find it like, why isn't, you could say anything. Why do you feel that he doesn't have a right to be the president of Nigeria, or he doesn't have a right to want to run? He has a right. Even Afegbua has a right to want to run. He has a right to go out there and run. He doesn't need to feel that he has to play a certain way, or sort of like be that good boy per se that should be, and then until they give him permission to do certain things, that he'll be able to do those things. And of course, is it that Afegbua thinks he himself is incapable, and so when he sees anybody within that region that wants to do the same thing, he feels that, oh, they are trying to, it's a selfish reason, because now you should be sitting down and doing the ballet to some people. I don't get if those are the things that he's talking about. And then he talked about his article that and I must confess here, honestly, I haven't read that article, and I don't think I'm going to waste my precious time reading the article at this moment, except if there's something that comes that someone gives me a good reason to go and do it, because I'm thinking, why are you writing an article focused on Labour Party when your article should be focused on the government that you say you are part of, that has failed so woefully, an illegitimate government that within 6 months has failed more than Buhari had failed in 8 years. I mean, it takes a lot of self-hate, let me use that word, a lot of self-hate for you to do everything to rig your way into office and come and be such an abysmal failure. Hey, let me just adjust this. Yeah, the noise is coming. I hope it's not distracting too much. To be such an abysmal failure that you're worse than Buhari in less than 6 months. That's crazy. Do you even understand the effect of what that means? It's just something else. So I would think it would be very good for him to focus his article on the suffering that Nigerians are going through and all the things that Nigerians are having to deal with just because someone in his own selfish way decided to rig his way into office. Because at the end of the day, what needed to have been done was to allow the people's mandate to be, and whoever it is that the people want, let it be, not someone coming in to do all of those rigging and whatever it is that happened. So let me look at the next clip, of course, that he talked about. So let's take a listen to this.
Good for you to nurture an ambition. It's also good for you to ensure that the vehicle upon which that ambition is being pursued is intact and seen to be very organized to pursue your aspiration. But in the last 1 year, Labour Party has been undergoing some kind of ding-dong affair. They are unable to put their house in order. The candidate of the party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, is unable to, explore the resource of dialogue, of conversation, of interaction, and to reconcile all the issues within the party and package it into a brand that other future aspirants will want to latch onto. But I find
You understand? I'm like, okay, when the Labour Party's business become your business so much that you're like, oh, you're focused on Labour Party, and oh, Labour Party should be this, Labour Party should be that. If there's anything that tells me that Mr. Peter Obi is really doing well, it's statements like this. Statements like what we just heard from Mr. Kassim Afegbua, which shows that they are rattled. They're expecting the kind of opposition that a PDP, does to them without really opposition and everything. And Mr. Peter Obi has taken it upon himself to focus on being that opposition and just continue to be like that unstoppable moving train that it's getting them. They're just so confused and so afraid, and you could literally hear it in the things that he's talking about. He's talking about the fact that so what they want is that Mr. Peter Obi should stay and be focused on the issue of Labour Party, and then they'll be throwing spanners, all sorts of things, all sorts of things at Labour Party, and then he will be dissipating his energy just focus on that. And the guy has refused to toe that line. He's just like, okay, fine, this is what is going on. But there's something that Mr. Afegbua talked about, and I would say to him, there was a particular time where I had that same thought. I remember, sitting down with Mr. Peter, but this was like over a year ago, and it's like, these are the things that need to happen with Labour Party. These are the things. These are the things. These are the things. And there was a time we're having a conversation, and like, look, Nigerians are going to say, if you are not able to handle the leadership of Labour Party, how are you going to handle the leadership of Nigeria? And and we brainstormed, we had arguments and all of that over this thing. And it took me a while to come to the point that we talk about internal, and when Peter Obi, we had our dialogue, he explained his own part and all of that. Initially, I wasn't saying his point, but it took me a while to come to that place of understanding and really understand his point. And I was like, oh wow, wait a minute. We say we want democracy, and for us to really have real democracy, there has to be internal democracy in our parties. What we've had over the time is that people just come, take over parties, shut everybody's mouth up. Either they have money, connection, whatever it is, use that money, and nobody else does anything. And so you sort of like take over, hijack, and take over the machinery of the party and be the one controlling it. And so that was what sort of like in our mindset. So I was like, oh, you need to do that and take ownership of the party and all of that. And I realized that's wrong. That's what has put us in this problem, where you now have this party owners who decide who becomes candidate, who doesn't become candidate, and all of that. Because it took when Mr. Peter Obi was explaining, look, he said he's just a member like every other member. He's not an NWC member. He's not a board of trustee members. He only has one vote. Like, for example, when they are doing primaries in certain places, they are telling him he has to take control of it. Like, he doesn't even have any voting right in those places. Yes, as a leader, he speaks, which of course is something that he has done over the time. And of course, with the election and somebody else rigging his way into office, so even the constitution of the party, he doesn't have like a position. So elected officials have certain, positions that are accorded to them. Of course, we know what happened. His mandate was stolen. He rigged he was rigged out of office. He is one person that he's not going to do the illegal way just for him to get into office. It's not by force for him, and he has said that several times, for him to get into office. So that thinking, and I can understand the issue of where Mr. Kassim Afegbua is coming from, being used to the kind of politics, the dirty politics that that we have in Nigeria, where it's about power. Somebody comes, controls the money, pays the money, and then controls the structure and feels they can do everything and anything with that structure. And so those are some of the things that he's saying. And I'm trying to look at the points, because as he was speaking, I was actually noting down points. I don't actually want to forget anything. So, in terms of money control, dictatorial, so this whole business of first among equals is not something that many politicians are used to, many of us are used to. And so Mr. Peter will be trying to say, I'm first among equal here. Yes, I came into this party, brought it into prominence and all of that, but I'm not going to take advantage. I'm going to appeal to their judgment. I'm going to sit down with them. I'm going to have those talk with them and all of that. Sort of like it's something that people like Mr. Kassim Afegbua are not saying. So he's used to that high-handedness, and he's waiting for that high-handedness for him to see, oh, that's the thing, that needs to go on. And those are the things that, as far as he's concerned, that's the way things are supposed to be. But we must get to a place where, no, those are not the things that we are accepting. And I'm gonna let us listen to the next the next clip here. It's gonna be a long video. I promise you, I'm gonna break it into bits for us, to get it. But let's listen.
But in Nigeria, people only pursue their ambition, not necessarily looking at the vehicle upon which that ambition is being pursued. And political parties are very important in terms of leadership recruitment, because that is the party upon which, a candidate who wants to be a governor, a senator, a House of Rep member.
Yes, I totally agree. Political parties are very important in Nigeria. Of course, in Nigeria, we do not have independent candidacy, and that's one of the reasons why, Mr. Peter Obi needed to run under Labour Party. If we had independent candidacy, I've always said this several times, Mr. Peter Obi's this thing would have been way better off than it was, but it is what it is. With the law that it is. There was something that Mr. Afegbua talked about, is that these political parties, they are the ways that you get, you produce leaders, and all of that. But what kind of leaders have Nigerian produced other than charlatans and those that have destroyed the economy? So those are not the kind of leaders that Mr. Peter Obi or anyone is trying to develop, going over into the politics that we have in Nigeria today. You don't want to do the same thing, because they said doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result is actually the impunity, the insanity that it's talked about. So what is here to now begin to say, oh, that's the way? The kind of political system that they have had has produced horrible leaders, and so it's time for us to do away with all of that. This thing. Oh, okay, I've also talked about earlier about the fact that Mr. Peter Obi is not an NWC member. It's not a board of trustee and all of that. And he has refused to use money to control the party. So these are some of the things, usually that people don't just get, people don't just understand. But anyway, let's take a listen to another one.
President will want to pursue an aspiration. And for you to say, if you cannot reconcile the issue, you are going to run away, means that he didn't have all that it takes ab initio to even aspire to govern the country or to preside over the country. Because if you are unable to reconcile differences in Nigeria, that means you will run away from the country if you are being faced with crisis in the country. And so for you to make that for him to make that kind of a statement, that if they are unable to reconcile, he will leave that he's out to build the country and not build the party, I find that very contradictory.
One of the reasons why he might find that contradictory might be because he doesn't understand the issue of values. There are always values. Everybody have where they don't want their value. They know that their values, they will not allow them to be compromised. And if you're in a system of place, and of course your values are not aligning together, you will decide to move on. The usual politicians we have in Nigeria are the ones that the issue of values are nowhere to be found. The issue of integrity is not even on the table. And no matter what it is, they will always want to keep themselves there, no matter how much it doesn't align with their values. And over time, their values are eroded. So probably that's what he he might not get out of it. And on the conversation, it's not the way that they're putting it that he's talking about, oh, he said he will run away from it, he said he would not, the way it's being said right now, definitely that wasn't how, that conversation went. And like I've explained earlier, as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Peter Obi is constitutionally backed to take a lot of decisions, constitutionally backed to handle some responsibilities and do some duties, which is different from what is in the party, where he doesn't, the Labour Party constitution does not give him any backing because he happens to be a member. And Mr. Peter Obi is trying to let us see what constitution, well, let's see what real democracy is all about, not the one that people are trying to, sort of like carry on with the, how do I put it now? Carry on with the, I'm trying to find this thing, and sort of like hijack the party, control everything, be the one dictating to everything, everybody how things will be. No, he's trying to demonstrate that democracy, where like we're all party members, we're first amongst equals here, and we're going to have a conversation. We'll keep talking about those conversations. So that's what is happening. So it's different from trying to say that, oh no, if he was president and then there is problem. Well, if he was president, I can tell you so much that what is happening with custom right now, where a lot of rot and corruption has been brought out under custom. Mr. Peter Obi being president definitely we ensure there's an investigation there. We ensure there's a reform in the customs, and we ensure there's an overhaul. And so these are the kind of things that Mr. Afegbua should actually be carrying over to his principal, who right now is illegitimately occupying the office of the president, to give him things to do, so that maybe people will be able to say that, oh, okay, he seems to be doing something good, even though, you understand. But that's not what they're focused on. They are more focused on Labour Party. And for me, what I loved about that whole interview is that it revealed more than ever that APC is seriously afraid of Mr. Peter Obi and Labour Party. And whatever Mr. Peter Obi is currently doing, he's doing a good job. But anyway, so let's move on. Let's hear another of those clips that we have. And so this one is here.
Well, I find your comments, a bit ironic, considering the fact that Nigerian politicians jump ship at will, they cross carpet at will. I know at a time you were also within the PDP. You did not stay to build the party into what you wanted it to be. You jumped ship when it became uncomfortable. So I'm wondering, if it's really fair to attack Peter Obi for doing what every other Nigerian politician does. How does that contribute to nation building?
Okay, thank you very much for your question and for your comment. I haven't accused Peter Obi of trying to defect. And I didn't contest president of Nigeria before. I haven't achieved that particular status. That's one. Secondly, Peter Obi is seen in some quarters as the face of opposition, so to speak. And one will expect that...
Okay, I was just trying... Okay, sorry. I was just trying to take the notes, and I realized that, oh, the voice had actually, stopped. So remember earlier where I talked about the fact that, when Afegbua has said that Peter Obi has selfish ambition, and one of the things I said was that he probably feels that he does not have what it takes to actually be, how do I put it now, to be a president. And so that's why he's saying this, and I'm feeling that, oh, why is Mr. Peter Obi now trying to jump the gun and be there when they are still trying to be dobaling to some people to be that? And you heard him mention the fact that, oh, he hasn't reached that status yet, that he in his own case he's making he's making defense for him. And I love the fact that the journalist actually put him on the spot. That's the way. The thing I loved about this interview was that both journalists, I mean, they weren't giving into any this. Not like the ones we know that will be doing dobale when they see, politicians or any of those come to their studio and everything. These ones were really high point on, as saying calling out this thing that is just not working right. So first of all, he himself has jumped ship several times, although he's saying that he's not accusing Mr. Peter Obi of jumping ship, but that he has not attained his status, that Mr. Peter Obi is seen as face of opposition. Hold it there. Hold it there. Hold it there. Yes, Mr. Peter Obi is seen as face of opposition, not Labour Party. And one of the things that they want to do is that they want to control the narrative and tell you as opposition what you're going to do and what you're not going to do, how you're going to do it and how you're not going to do it. And the fact that Mr. Peter Obi is not falling in with what they intend for it to happen, it's really getting at them, and you see them all coming out with everything to tell you, oh, this is what is supposed to be, this is the face of opposition, or it's not the face of opposition. No, you don't get to tell opposition what they're going to do. Opposition will do their opposition, how they're going to do their opposition. And of course, it's not like the PDP opposition that they are used to, where those ones just sit down and actually just don't do anything. So I'm just trying to read some of the like to know what. So and it's really crazy. So all of these things, Oh Lord have mercy. Sometimes when you just see Nigerian politicians, it's just so funny that it's not. But anyway, this thing is getting too long. I think we'll do a part 2. So I'll take a break here. Watch out for part 2.